Joining us on the Lewis Automotive Hotline on a Monday morning is Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation on a game week, our first of 12, hopefully 13 game weeks, Mike. And when you're looking at the national publications, that's basically where they're sitting in on Arkansas. They're not sure if the Hogs are going to make a bowl game or not. I'm seeing anywhere from about 5-7 to 7-5. I'm not seeing much different from that.
You know, this is probably my favorite week of the year because I've explained to you guys before, I'm not one of these people that wants to make predictions or try to figure out what's going to happen. I like to watch and see what happens. We got all these big games coming up. We're going to find out real quick how good Texas is, how good Ohio State is, how good LSU is. You know, a bunch of these SEC teams are playing really tough games right off the bat. And I like that because my experience with college football is there are always surprises. We can sit around and talk all we want all summer long, and then we can talk about stuff in camp. But everything changes when you actually play games. Now, as far as Arkansas is concerned, I will tell you that historically, the better Arkansas teams have avoided injuries to key players. And when you've had injuries to key players, it has sometimes ruined a whole season. Right now it looks real good. I mean, they really don't have an injury to a key starter. And there are some SEC teams, Alabama right off the bat, their top running back is going to miss at least 2 games. So there'll be teams with injuries, and it will affect them. And I'm interested to see from Sam Pittman coming up in a little while if anything happened last week that we don't know about. Because, again, we don't go to those practices, and they don't have a lot of interviews where they review the last week before game week. But hopefully it'll stay the way it is. You know, the one concern is on the D-line where Oki he's a backup. It looks like he may only miss 1 game, and he may not even be needed to play in that game because in the season opener because he's a backup. So it looks real good right now.
Mike, last year, the team, it's no surprise or no secret, they scored on 10 straight offensive possessions. It was pretty wild. And we were talking about before the show started today, what's something you want to see if you could only choose one thing? And I know there's 1,000 different things we could want to see. Christian and I said we want to see I think Phil was in with it, 0 fumbles. We don't want the ball on the ground one time. That was our main issue last year. Is it what is something you want to see? Is it scoring 10 straight times? Is it tackling on defense? Is it a certain player? What do you hope to see week 1?
Yeah, if you watched that game on Saturday between Iowa State and Kansas State, what did we see right off the bat? Penalties left and right. Now, they were trying to play in the rain over in Ireland, but the main thing you look for in a season opener is can players line up and run a play or line up on defense and complete a play without some sort of penalty? Penalties are a killer. I mean, they stop drives. They can keep drives alive for the other team's offense. So, yeah, you don't want fumbles. You don't want turnovers, but you don't want penalties. And that's the main thing I'm going to look for. Can you line up and go right down the field and score without a penalty?
I think you'd mentioned injuries earlier and how Arkansas has avoided that. I think the one guy that they've brought up who's injured, who probably would have been on the depth chart and maybe a starter on defensive tackle, was David Oki, a transfer out of Abilene Christian. I think that's the one guy. If I'm thinking of any, there's Ismail Cisa, who might have been one of the starting receivers, but that was over a month ago, so it didn't happen at camp. And you're right. I mean, it does really feel like they've gotten away, not away, they've just kind of almost been scot-free. But Oki's the one guy, right, Mike, that they've talked about has been hurt, and we're still not sure how long he'll be out.
Well, he's a 3. In other words, he's the 3 guy. There are 2 starters, Jefford and Cam Ball. Those are your 2 starters at down linemen. And he would come in and replace either one of them if they needed to come out, take a blow, take a rest, or if somebody got hurt. Again, the last thing we heard was he might just miss a game. Now, they're not going to miss him in this game. They've got some freshmen, to be honest with you, that could play in a game like this, because the only thing wrong with them is they don't have experience. They're talented, and this would be an opportunity to get them in a game and let them play. So I just don't think this is a serious situation until maybe if you have to play Memphis and you don't have him, then maybe that's a problem.
Where are you on FBS versus FCS competition? Because if we're at a place where you're improving, you're trying to improve your schedule by adding another league game, and there's talk. It's just talk right now, but it's still maybe something of a challenge with Big Ten and SEC, and the idea that, and we even have trouble sometimes. I know it's a game. I know that they're keeping score and it's a different opponent, but it's a little difficult sometimes viewing the FCS games as a legitimate win. I know it gets you to 6, sometimes gets you a bowl game, but what do you see this still fitting into the future of college football?
No, I mean, it's going to be reduced with this new schedule that starts next year. I mean, you're going to have one more SEC game, and this was inevitable. Anybody that didn't think this was going to happen or thought there was a question, it was about as obvious as driving up to a stop sign about 10 feet high that says stop. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. So you're adding another SEC game, which takes away from one of these mid-major games. And then you're saying of the 3 games that you have against non-conference teams, one of them has to be with a Power 4 team. So now you're reduced to 2 so-called win-a-win games a year. That's 2 out of 10. Now, what's that going to do? I'm telling you what it's going to do. It's going to take a team that would normally win 7 games, and maybe they win 5. It's going to take a team that would win 9 games, and maybe they win 7 or 8. So how do you deal with that? Because Arkansas is not the only team that's going to be affected by this. And this is why we had that talk all that talk was going around last week about the Big Ten wanting 20 or 22, 24 teams in the playoffs. Because if you're going to lose more games, you got to figure out a way to make it more forgiving. We may see an SEC team or a Big Ten team get in the playoffs with 3, maybe even 4 losses, depending on what's going on. And that's what this is all about. You're going to play a tougher schedule. You're going to lose more games. So you got to figure out a way to compensate for that when it comes to the end of the year and trying to get teams into the playoffs. Fans don't like it. I'm telling you, it's all a part of this overall thing where you got to have money. They have to play this 9-game SEC schedule to get more money from ESPN, which gives more money to the schools. Arkansas is struggling. Why did Hunter Yurachek make that 10% cut? Because he had to. Next year he won't have to do that because they will more than make up for that in the extra revenue that's coming from the network people for the 12 games you're going to play.
Hey, Mike, I agree with you on your thought. The college football game is amazing because there's going to be upsets every week. There is, and I was looking at the schedule. You got a ranked Tennessee team that Syracuse is coming into town. I guess they're meeting in Atlanta. But right. Then that Alabama-Florida State matchup. Florida State just fell off a cliff last year. They got Gus Malzahn there. Alabama is actually reunited with Kalen DeBoer has his OC from Washington. Tennessee or Alabama, which one should be more on upset alert?
I would go with Tennessee. I'm really not sure about them. But I'm also, and this is my prejudice, and I will admit it, but I'm also would not be shocked to see Texas lose. They have all kinds of pressure on them because everybody has them winning a national championship. The media always loves Texas. They always think they're going to be great. Maybe they will be, but what if they lose by 2 or 3 touchdowns? What does that do to them? I mean, this is what makes, to me, college football fun. I'm going to be watching all that stuff. When a team that's supposed to be good starts getting beat, I'm going to be sitting there laughing and watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about LSU. But if you want to look at a team that's got a lot of pressure on them, I know Texas is preseason number 1, but with the history of starting 0-1 against powerful programs, not just mostly under Brian Kelly now. I mean, I would look at LSU as having an immense amount of pressure, even though they're going on the road, they're going to Death Valley, so there's excuses built into that, but. Just from their recent history and what Kelly's talked about. I mean, I think they basically have planned for Clemson since spring ball So it's almost like opening with their Super Bowl, really.
There are fans at LSU that already want them to lose this game because they want him fired. I mean, if you think Arkansas's fan base is nuts, you ought to look at LSU's fan base. Those people are slap crazy, and they don't like him. A lot of them don't like him, and they want him out. So they lose that game. Ooh, what's going to happen the rest of the year? Does Brian Kelly even make it through to the end of the season? I mean, there are all these questions, but I love it, man. I love it because it's a big mystery, and it's like reading a book and you turn the next page and you're not sure what you're going to look at.
The sport's totally different, Mike, than it was even 5 years ago. I'd ask you this question because you've been covering college football for over 40 years. And I think I can ask you this because I think you come from a perspective. This is the lay of the land. I got to see how this works out. A lot of people complain about the changes in the sport, do away with tradition, lack of meaning in the regular season. As somebody who has covered the sport for as long as you have, where are you on the current state of college football?
I don't like it, but it's not going to change. You don't have a choice. Now, some people will make that choice, and it's weird. I've got a buddy that I grew up with, known him since the fourth grade. He is both a Razorback fan and a Texas Tech fan. He's been talking as long as I've known him about this is going to be Texas Tech's year. So I called him and I said, you know, they got money. They've bought some of the best players you can buy. This may be their year. They could end up a top 10 team, maybe even compete for a national championship. Are you excited? He said, I'm not watching. I said, what are you talking about? And he said, I hate all this. They're just buying players. That's not the way it works. I don't want to watch professional football. I don't know if he's really going to do this, but he claims he's not going to watch the games, listen to them, do anything. He's going to go on Friday night and watch some high school teams, and then he's going to sit around and listen to radio, I guess, during the day. I don't know. He's retired, but I think there'll be some fans react negatively to this. But, guys, what choice do you have? You may not like where it's going, but it is what it is. It's not like you go to the grocery store and you're used to Tide soap in your washing machine, and you look there and Tide's 3 times more expensive so you can buy some other brand. You don't have a choice. It is what it is. So I don't like it, but so what?
You don't always win your first bet. That's why MyBookie has you covered. Use our code HOGS, H-O-G-S, and your first bet up to $500 is fully covered. If your pick doesn't hit, you get it right back with our Bet Back bonus. Go to mybookie.ag and use the code HOGS to claim your Bet Back bonus. MyBookie's where bettors win together because bragging's good, but cashing in is better. And your first bet is fully covered. Use our code HOGS.
Got a little jingle